I'm Bert Hoffman. I am the Regional Chief Economist for the East Asia and Pacific region, and also the Director of the Singapore office. My favorite number is 7. 7 is the indicator growth target for China for next year. If you look at China in the world, right now they contribute about 1/3 of world growth. So if China slows down, the world will slow down. After very high growth rates in the past, getting to a lower level of growth is not so easy. When I was studying, numbers were a very big thing, and models were a big thing, and math was a big thing. Increasingly, psychological elements, experiments in how people truly behave in concrete situations is informing economists on how to think about the economy. Less numbers, more people knowledge. But in the end, those big numbers, GDP growth and supply, capital, labor, they're all people making decisions. You want people to do something that makes their life and also the economy better. But how do you get them to do that? That's a huge challenge in economics. How do you get teachers to show up? How do you get mothers to send their kids to school? What incentives can you give that they actually do so? And that's in part money, numbers, but in part it is psychology. China started on its high growth path back in 1978. Deng Xiaoping announcing market reforms, or he didn't say market reforms, he said gradually moving towards a market-based economy. They've done that successfully, first by reforming agriculture and later by reforming industries, in part domestically, but with the entry in the WTO in 2001, China really took off. I like 7 because it's a bit less than what China is growing with now. In the longer term, we know that China will slow down much more. By 2030, China will only grow with 4 to 5%. Why is that? Because the richer you get, the harder it is actually to grow. I mean, rich countries usually don't grow that much. 2 to 3% is already quite a bit. But to get to that gradual decline without accident is quite important for China. Now, taking a growth target that is a bit less ambitious than it was this year means that they create space for reforms. Not putting absolute growth numbers up front, but putting the quality of growth up front. Well, I guess it was 1984. I already studied economics, but I wasn't at all sure whether I liked economics. My professional life started with the Latin American debt crisis, a very big issue. So I was analyzing it and looking at whether countries were in an impossible position, in a debt overhang position, or whether countries could work their way out of the debt situation. It's important for the bank to know, but it was also terribly interesting from a development economics perspective. If I would have stayed in my home country, the Netherlands, I could have been quite happy as an economist, but would have worked on much smaller things that inches the country ahead. Working for the World Bank, working in development economics, means that sometimes you had to deal with very, very big issues. I come to the World Bank, get to work on China and China's reforms. Fantastic, fantastically interesting and enormously important for many people in China and around the world. And China is a very good teacher. So I got a lot of time to start understanding China, their issues, before actually being asked to recommend anything. And I thought it was absolutely fascinating. So that's what triggered for me, like, this is what I want to do for my life.